welcome back. I'm going to be tying in this little segment into my Patreon where I just discuss little topics for a few minutes that I feel are important and that have helped me along my journey in magic, and maybe they'll help you out. Today we're going to be going over mirror practice. Now, when I had started off in magic 20 some odd years ago, I would practice in front of the mirror. All these old timers and all these magicians that have been doing magic for years always said, practice in front of a mirror, practice in front of a mirror. Well, I noticed that when I would perform effects or when I would practice moves like the pass or moves where the spectators were looking at my hands, I would practice, they'd look great in front of a mirror, and then when I go to perform it, I would flash or um, the angles just weren't right. I just didn't understand why at the time. Uh, when I was 19 years old, I got a job at a magic shop called Houdini's Magic Shop. It was based in Irvine, California. It is now the magic shop inside Disneyland. There's an old timer working there. His name was Fred Cardan, and he kind of took me under his wing. And he invited me over to his house one day, and I had seen a mirror up on his wall. It was up on a ledge, and he attached two little pieces of chain from the back of it to the wall, and he had angled at 45 degrees. And when I had taken the cards and I was, practicing in front of the mirror, I realized and it clicked why he did that. It's because when a spectator is watching you and seeing you perform, they are looking down essentially at a 45-degree angle at your hands, especially if you're doing like, walk around and performing close up that way, but they're looking down at a 45-degree angle at your hands. So having a flat mirror and practicing these moves and these routines to a flat mirror is giving you essentially a false sense of what they're actually seeing. So it dawned on me that that's why he had the mirror angled down, so that way you can get an actual more accurate view of what the spectator is actually seeing when you're performing for them, or you're performing a sleight, or you need to get the right angles for a specific move. And so at that point, I went out and made the investment, spent like 35 bucks, 40 bucks on one of those stand-up mirrors. They're oval or rectangular, and they kind of swivel, and you would just tighten them up on the sides, and then you can have it angled down, and that's how I would practice. Nowadays we have phones, and usually whenever we post videos on Instagram, social media, or anything like that, we set up the phone to have it at a specific angle, so that way it's essentially the best angle for the specific move or effect that we're actually performing. Now, instead of just constantly using it to post on social media, it's a great tool to use when practicing. You can record yourself and actually see where you're flashing. You can record at the perfect angle. You can be at an exposed angle when you start off, and then with certain moves you adjust your body, so that way you can kind of get essentially, you think of it as perfect audience control or audience management, where you are moving your body to get the right angle if the spectator is standing in a specific spot. And that way you can record yourself, you can see where you flash, where you need to cover your angles a little bit more. And instead, like I said, instead of just using it constantly to post on social media, we can use it as a tool. But I suggest getting one of those mirrors, because obviously a screen is it's smaller, whereas if you have a mirror, you getting more of a realistic view of what the spectator is seeing, because it's just a mirror, and that way you can adjust it however you like. Or you can get one of those square mirrors, put it on a ledge, get some anchors, those chain anchors, anchor them to the wall, and have it down at a 45-degree angle. The choice is up to you, but I just wanted to touch on that subject of just the whole flat mirror principle, giving a false perception of what the spectator is actually seeing. Now, if you're performing on stage and you're doing like card manipulation, where you're producing cards into a hat out of thin air, or you're practicing like the snap change, or you're practicing a move where it needs to be right here or at eye level here where you're bringing it up, then yes, a flat mirror would be more accurate. But for moves where they're looking at your hands, or routine where they're looking down at your hands, it's not the best option, and it's pretty inaccurate to use a flat mirror at that point. Just food for thought, but just wanted to share that with you guys. Until next time, be well, take care. We'll see you in the next video.